Okay, this is about lists, making lists and how to space them, how to even just make them in InDesign. So if I go ahead and select our first, this three right here, and I have the type tool selected, in the paragraph section, I can turn this list easily into bullets or a numbered list, right? And now it's especially helpful for a numbered list, right? Because if you had 100 things in a row and then you realize you missed something, typing in those numbers would be a total nightmare, right? So it's great that you can just click a button and it automatically numerates these for you. Now you're not stuck with the defaults. You can absolutely change the type of bullet or numerator that you have. So you would do that with your type tool selected. Go over to this hamburger menu over on the right side. It's kind of hidden, and go to bullets and numbering. And in this, right, I could go ahead and change my character here. Let's put preview on so I can see what's happening. There we go. So you see I can go ahead and use maybe something like these double angle quotes. Those are great, right? So you'd have to go looking for those, right, in the you'd have to go to add and find the text and find the character you want to select. I'm going to leave this one because I think it's great. Now you can select, set the distance as well right here, but there's an easier place to do that. So I'm going to hit OK, and I'm going to go over here, still in the paragraphs tab. Notice you have this right here. So I'm going to change this number to -2, and it's going to complain. So there it is. It says you can't outdent. So basically you can't outdent from the frame. They need to be sitting right in here. So it's like a little dance, right? I would put this to 1 pixel, and then if I want to move this back to this alignment, I take this one down right here. So these are the two that you're working with. The actual left indent and the first line indent are what you'd be working with in tabs to control this space. And it's because I think absolutely the distance InDesign puts in by default is really terrible, way too far. This is a much nicer distance, right? On top of my text should probably be smaller, but that's okay. So bringing down that size is going to behoove you to do that. Now let's talk about spacing our things. So let me turn this next one into also a bulleted list. Let's control that space because it's way too much, right? By saying, nope, I can't do it that way. I have to do it in this order. That one, that one. Okay. So now I've got these two and they're 1 pica over. I think I could even give that another point or two to the left. That's okay. When I have a list that is single items, you really have 2 ways that you can control the distance between these. You can go over into the leading and change your leading to say, right, I'm putting in different space, right? I could have had these all grabbed and, right, change the space between these. And I generally, if there's not a lot of any lines that wrap, I generally will set these tighter unless there's some precedent in the document for that. But I might do say like this much distance. That looks great to me. Of course, right, everything should be smaller. So if I was like 10, I'd bring that down to like, 12, 14 maybe. But anyhow, right? So that's how I'm putting the distance of these ones. Now these ones, when we start getting second ones, you can't just use the leading. So watch what happens if I turn that leading up. So notice what's happening is this distance and this distance are the same. And that's bad because this should be one group, right? These look like 4 different things. I know they have the markers here and that's the purpose of the markers, but I still just don't think that looks good. Instead of setting the leading, what I would do is we'll set the leading you want between 2 lines. So maybe I'm going to do 12, 14 on this one. And instead what I'm going to do is use in paragraphs, use the space after, just like we did with paragraphs, right? And so now we have it so that these look like grouped items. Do you see the difference there? That's something really important to think about and how you space your list. You don't want this line to be floating away from this and the same distance as that. And that's how you handle lists in InDesign.